Special Report.
Black holes are one of the strangest things in existence.
Neil Armstrong may have seen extraterrestrials on the moon.
When he spies a discernible shape.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox. I will be your pilot through this universe, and we're going to actually take a moment here and let everybody know that the person we have coming on today is somebody that I've worked closely with over the last few months, have gotten to know, respect, love, and she's amazing. The work that she does, helping people to find their centers, while at the same time being able to create the business aspect and maintain the lifestyle of researching and helping others and bringing information to the forefront. So, you know, Kathy Mason has played a major part in the events that we've done over the last couple of months. And it's, you know, I so look forward to the relationship as it grows and as we get to know each other even further. So far, she has been just knocked it out of the park. She's been amazing at everything we've done. Brought on some extremely amazing guests. Her show is amazing. We're going to post all that in the links in the comments for you later, so you can subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Hit the like button and share this out. We change the world together. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Without me, who knows? You probably look at somebody else. It really doesn't make a difference, but we need to help each other. Share this far and wide. Make sure as many eyes get on it as possible, because that's how we create the change that we want to be. As we say all the time, the information is the activation, as Phil Gruber says, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. So without further ado, let me introduce Kathy before we bring her up. Kathy Mason is an Amazon best-selling author, speaker, host of the show Conscious Business Zone, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, an online sales specialist who works with conscious companies to help them grow. She is psychic and intuitive and can see your soul mission and help you to create that vision now. Through her company, Mason Works Marketing, she lovingly supports her clients as a seasoned interactive strategy coach and implementer with a solid background in developing products and publicity across all digital platforms: internet, TV, mobile, in-store marketing, and social networks. She is a high-energy cause marketing expert with over 20 years of expertise at rolling out cutting-edge strategies for business building, communications, implementation, training, and book or ebook publication. So without further ado, let us bring up the wonderful Kathy Mason. Kathy, how are you?
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Great. So excited to be here. This is my first time on your show. Thank you.
The first time of many. And, you know, before we get started, I want to tell you what you have meant to me while in this journey, and bringing on people that you break down the paradigms of what we truly believe to be that consciousness based community. You bring in so many different aspects of movie interactivity, people who really do this imperative research and exploration of the self, and you have gone above and beyond your call to bring this forward, and I just want to commend you on that, because it's so honorable and admirable, and you do such a wonderful job at it, Kathy. Your books are amazing, your guests are amazing, and now you're not the host, you're in the hot seat. So how does that feel right off the bat?
A little nervous.
Don't be.
Well, yeah. So I started doing Conscious Business Zone because I had been doing work for these incredible healers and change agents and business people that I wanted as many people as possible to know about. So I've been doing it for 3 years. the first 2 years, I pretty much almost exclusively worked with people I already knew. That's how many. It's 100, 52 weeks. It's twice a week. 100. It's a lot of people, and
Yeah.
and so I've been blessed that I've been around others that saw a different potential for humanity, that wanted to bolster and elevate the people around them to see that viewpoint and to make things a lot more fun, a lot more fun.
It is a lot of fun, and for those of you who watch Kathy's shows already, you're gonna know who she is. But for the people who watch my show and may not know exactly who Kathy is, Kathy, I want you to tell us in your words, who are you? First off, second off, how this all started for you in this awakening process, and what transitions kind of have you made? We're going to kind of like go into the story of how Mason Works came about and stuff like that, but I want people to understand who Kathy is through Kathy's eyes.
Well, Kathy is psychic and intuitive, but had to hide her superpowers growing up. She pretty much stuffed it until almost, I'd say, 27 years ago, maybe 28 years ago, when it couldn't stay stuffed any longer. But I always seemed to, because of being an empath, I always seemed to attract people that would like dump their stuff. They would tell me all their deepest problems and issues, and then somehow we could transmute them. But I wasn't sure how it all worked. And I did need validation a lot because, it's like, did you hear that? No, no one else heard it. And I still like validation, I have to say.
We all do. We all do.
I started to realize that I had a team with me, and realized that they're Arcturian, and they've been with me since I was 8 years old, and they would direct me because the humans were doing crazy stuff around me.
Without a doubt.
And so it was like, which way do you go? Well, these guys behind me, always my team, there's 4 of them behind me. And then Saint Germain works with me. And then I have a 12th dimensional angel that's probably an aspect of me that people that see the angel. They may not see Saint Germain, but I know he's there. So anyway, I already had this team. I'm not sure when these other guys showed up, but I think that might have been when I couldn't contain it anymore. And people that one time I was at a paranormal event, and this American Indian, this woman's name's Atasha. She also goes by other names, who's an Arcturian. And she was kind of scared doing her presentation. She was scared of humans, which I understand why.
Of course.
But I'm not scared of them. But because I'm not sure why I'm doing this. Yes, I am. I'm kidding. Anyway, she looked at me, and there's only one other American Indian did the same thing to me, and there are only 2 people in my whole life. She looked all the way through me, and you could feel it like.
I've had that happen too. It's a wild experience where they see your consciousness through and through, and the expansion of your consciousness into infinity, and just watch it. It's like burning a hole through your body. It's a wild experience. Go ahead, Kathy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I went to this event. It was standing room only. I was ending up sitting on the floor on the left-hand side of this room. Must have been 250 people crammed in this room to hear this woman's presentation. And she had been told by Chief White Eagle or someone that she had to come out and tell what she knew. And a lot of the alien hybrids or the aliens that are in human form now are super, they have 10 degrees. They're like amazing in high competency here. And she's an example of that. Anyway, I went up to her during the break and I had no idea why I was going there. It was like, I saw the picture, I'm going. Then we got there too late. So I'm sitting on the floor during the break. I go up to her and I said, she looks right through me and and I start crying. I mean, it was just like, what just happened? And luckily I'd had it happen one other time before, but it's like being read totally.
Did memories come up for you when that was happening, or sort of like a flash of energies, kind of?
I think so. I mean, I was shook. I had already started on my journey doing what I do now, but this thing, all I could do is start crying. She goes, how are you doing it here? How are you existing? You're Arcturian. What are you doing? And all I could do say is I published books. I was crying, just like instantaneous, like release. And so then I go back, sit down as she's doing the next part of her presentation. And I'm just sitting there going, what is that? And then I met with her on Zoom or Skype later, and she was talking about, well, have you been up in the ships and have you flown it and what's the console look like? And I didn't remember anything. And so I felt like I failed. Like that was the test to see if she was going to work with me. And I didn't make it, but it didn't matter. I mean, when you go to all of these labels like Arcturian, Palladian, all of these labels can be restrictive. When these are star clusters, there's so many different beings that are from each one of these. I already knew I was protected by this team, and I knew that they were had gamma ray color, which is that fuchsia purple color. Yep. So I already knew that before anybody ever told me. But then once someone told me I was Arcturian, I read everything that's about it, and it didn't help me. It didn't really make a difference.
It didn't activate for you. And you know, one of the things that you said that's really wild is this connection to the paranormal. And I feel like a ton of people through the paranormal, what happens is they start to do paranormal investigations and they kind of get a glimpse beyond that veil. Mm-hmm. And then they start to manifest this ability to be like, how can I maintain that connection all the time without the instruments? Knowing what's going on over there is now an insight to the other side. And I went through the same exact thing, and it's wild because now we're in the consciousness field, yet we all started in the paranormal and got like that taste for the consciousness and what happens beyond that point of physical, right? And that it's so intriguing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That was just, and you know, one more thing. Like you said, the containers, the identity containers, Arcturian, Lyran, they're all relative to source, but it is a container, and to maintain yourself within that container can sometimes be limiting, and we are limitless.
It's also that a 3D interpretation of that container isn't expanded enough. So when you read, I read Tom Kenyon's book, who's brilliant. I mean, I don't know if you know who that is, but he is an artist.
Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. He does a lot of vocal work, and he works with a lot of the Egyptian Hathors and all of that. I mean, amazing work. But I mean, I got a whole bunch of books over there. But I found it's the same thing. I feel crystals. I make healing jewelry just as a hobby. And when I go to a book to try to see what someone else says about what it does, it's like sometimes they're right, and sometimes I get something better than that. So I think words don't explain a lot of it. The other thing that I think a lot of people are going to be having now, which is really super cool, is spiritually transformative experiences. And that's what I got to have one 17, 18 years ago. And what that is, it's like a near-death experience where you go into the void. But in my case, I got to see, I get to experience who I really was as a bigger energy form. And then I still think of that every single day. I wake up and I'm grateful for it. And I try to see how I can clear any of the obstacles to holding that, all that light that I saw that I was from that time period. And I think that's what this great awakening is going to do. So many people are going to be activated to see their divine self and embrace that instead of this game plan here. And we'll have a kinder, more beautiful, we'll just have an incredible world once that happens. But we're in transition and it's messy right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's go back to your spiritual transformation. Now, when we talk to people about spiritual transformations, there are major ones, and sometimes there's, I don't want to say minor because it's never minor, but it's less impactful. And I feel like as of late, you see more and more of those minor spiritual just connections and that reimagining of what is self, and just it's incredible to see. But I think we're seeing it more of like a domino effect. 15 years ago, it was like one out of every 100 million. Really, it was just a lot different. So tell us what your transformation was, how it impacted you, and also how did you see things afterwards as per before it.
Okay. So let's see where to start here.
That's a lot. There was a lot of questions, I know.
Well, it's because I was already, like, I would walk into a room and I could see the angelic ones, even if they didn't know. And I did that since I was a little girl. So I wasn't really good at reading bad ones, but I could find the good ones. So back 18 years ago, I had realized that there was a pattern to my life and I didn't like it and I wanted to change it. So what I did is I started taking a series of classes with Harry Palmer called Avatar, and it's way before the movie. And it's really was spiritual enlightenment for rich people because it was expensive. But I was determined at that point. It was, I had felt like I had gotten a PhD in how to be a victim. And and I wanted to graduate because I could, that's what you see is if you see these patterns that different, same story, different players in your life, then you know it's you. You can't project everything out to everyone else. So I took a series of classes. I think I took 5 in total. And the last one was called Wizards. And I love alchemy. I mean, I already was doing it before, but this was like, okay, Wizards. Well, Wizards was 2 weeks of working on yourself in a big group. There were over 500 people there. It was approximately $10,000.
Wow,
With 500 people there. Okay.
that's a lot of money. It was one shot. That is definitely a business endeavor that was
Yeah.
successful, shall we
Yeah,
say?
it was. Now, I don't know how many people were repeats from before that got to go in for half price or whatever, but it was 2 weeks of working on yourself. Like people who do ayahuasca and they journey, plant medicine, they do a long weekend. This was 2 weeks. Living out of a hotel. So that's room and board and airfare in Florida. Anyway, the last day, or pretty much the last day, it's the last day I remember, they did this process called the ultimate. and you lay down on the floor and someone spots you, and this beautiful English woman who I'd never met before ends up being my partner. And I saw I have no idea how long I was gone, but I was gone and I didn't want to come back. So that's why you have a spotter. But they basically what she kept saying was something like, and I still have the book, so we could try to do it if you want. But it was releasing everything that isn't you. And keep doing that and keep doing that. So I have no idea if it was 6 hours. I have no idea how long. But I went into some other place and I saw this stream of energy that was God, the creator source. And then I was a tributary off of it. And this body was like smaller than an ant in the spotlight of who I was. And all of this light was me. And the longer I was in a long time, and it was so incredibly loving, non-judgmental, which was what I'd been working on, judgments and all of the weird stuff you make up about yourself. Anyway, I none of that, pure love, pure potential. And there was a little bit of almost fire kind of colors to it. So it had a little bit of red and orange and stuff in it. And the longer I was in it, later on in the distance, there were other tributaries. But at first it was just me and God. And I didn't know it was God. All I knew was it was incredible. It was this incredible opportunity to feel whole, complete, and really powerful. But I was teeny. I was just this teeny speck in this huge thing. But that was all me. So I came back, and it took me years to even understand, to have language for it. I just was changed. I went to the airport on the way back, and it was surreal. I mean, I was so altered in my perception of this reality after that, and how to play this game, and where to find, where to express love or light after being in that void. And I'm a volunteer for the near-death people, the IONS group, which is the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I've been a volunteer for them for 4 years, I think. And I love being around them because they have language. It's such a mystical experience. No drugs, no deprivation, no sitting out in the sun dancing. Well, you think of all the things that Sufis spin for years to be able to do this, and somehow I just clicked right in. And so from there, I came back and I was like, okay, yeah, this one will work this time. Seriously, it's like, okay, thanks, this will work for me. And I'm pretty healthy, so it has worked for me. But every morning I wake up seeing that.
Wow.
Because that's pure potential. We're supposed to be co-creating at the cutting edge with that, not in this dumbed down victimization model. We're supposed to be creator gods. That's really what we are. But
It's so true. That's so true. And I bet every cell was vibrating at such a high frequency when you were going through that. And now when you wake up in the morning, you start your day with that vibratory surge. And a lot of people would be envious of that because, you're right. This 3D model of the victim is ever potent. And it takes a lot of, I want to say, programming yourself and your own programming to really get that mode out and bring in that love and that vibratory high, I guess you could say. And you're right. And one of the things that I've always been fascinated with was attaining that level of what people who do ayahuasca do without the drugs.
Right. Right.
Getting there on my own stability to maintain it. And it's difficult, but and just to kind of integrate a little bit, when I first started down this journey, it was very much meditation, very much breath work. And now when I sit down to meditate, me and Joan of Angels were doing a Tartaria series, and we made this pact to reach out to the elders of this lost community. And the moment that I set my focus to that, it was just dead on. Now, the entity was a little bit pervasive and didn't want to tell me who they were or why, or a lot of it is still left up to mystery that I have to figure out. But you get that once you get into like that akashic zone, and you were above that. You were above that in this transcendence. You were in the essence of the creator. You were in the presence of the creator. So you could only imagine, to give this severity of what that means and how that truly impacts you. And if you wake up every day with that same feeling, that's incredible, Kathy. That's incredible.
Well, the game has been is how do I hold all that light? So so it was a gift and an experience and a opportunity to share, but it also is a responsibility once you're shown that, of how you help humanity, because that's why we're here. We're here to serve. And the idea is, I know that my life mission is to help as many people wake up to their divinity. And using that light is how you can shine the mirror back to who people really are. And that is what I do. I don't usually see the bad. I usually see the good.
I try myself to do that. And, I was actually talking with my fiance last night, and we were talking about this show. And if I wasn't able to do this to communicate or to bring information to people, there would be a tremendous hole inside of me. And that ability to do that is something that I pride myself on, but at the same time, I take it so seriously because it is essentially a part of who I truly am, along with being able to, a lot of people they know that I've been creating a database that'll be passed down for the next generation so that they could fast forward to this moment, as opposed to waiting until their 40s like myself and getting to that point and taking that time. It'll all be at their fingertips. But, it's so wild because just like you were saying, when you know when you have that responsibility to do that, there's no other way, right? And there's no more that you can do. If one person listens, if thousands of people listen, it doesn't matter. You're doing what what your consciousness has been put here to do, and you know that because it resonates with you in that manner.
Well, what's interesting is that people, like I said, I can look in a room and, Victoria Reynolds,
Hmm.
I met her when she was just awakening, and I knew she was an angelic. I knew it before she did, almost. And what happens is, that as soon as I get the memo, I do what I can to help them see. So that's been the joy of it. And it I don't feel, even though I've had that experience, I'm still learning. I think that's the beauty of your show and mine. And I want to compliment you so much on your dedication to doing the show,
Thank you.
because, we're constant learners. There is a universe of information to learn and experience. And that's, being a constant learner is also a model that you want to, the other people have kind of checked out. They're watching TV, Netflix, the whole lockdown, people
Oh
missed
yeah.
the whole opportunity, and They were just watching the same old program stuff instead of going in. But here we've been doing whatever we can to see the world and not judge it, but see you resonate with certain things. It's like Mulder. You had Mulder at I love Mulder.
Mm.
It not just the way it looks. I just love that whole character. The truth is out there. The truth will always be revealed. It's whether or not we recognize it.
So true, so true, and you're right. That focus. When we got locked in, I knew that I had to redirect my energy because I couldn't be that person to sit in front of the TV. When a lot of the time in my off time, I will be doing that, but I couldn't do it 24/7. I had to shift. I had to change. I had to dedicate myself to something, or I'm this type that it's going to go stir crazy. It's going to be a really bad day for me if I have to do that. And reading, I can do reading and research and stuff like that. But you're absolutely right. And that was actually divine timing for that. And that was sort of where this position came out. And one of the terms that I use all the time is we the forever students, because we are forever students, and you yourself are the same way. And I'll always be grasping for that next ring of information, or that next book that's going to help me figure out another dot, because I have so many dots and so many things that are just in the air. They're up in the air. We don't know for certain. I want to be the one to figure it out. Like, that's a drive.
Well, I think what's the other part of it is there's so many different species of humans here that there is so many different viewpoints, and that's by learning other people's viewpoints, other hybrids or others' vision of reality, we get closer to being able to create unity consciousness. So part of it is this need to know, watching another UFO thing, or what. I mean, I love all of this stuff. I love the strong stuff. I love all of this stuff, and it fires me up. It's not just a little bit. I love energy healing. I love these people that are creating new ways to do leadership. I still think business has a big role in this interim change from the competitive life to the to a compassionate life. I think those leaders have a big part in turning the ship around and creating the new societies, because we need to do that. It's the inequitable life patterns that have been put here. They aren't sustainable anymore. So that's why I do Conscious Business Zone. But my show is really based on helping that leader or the small business owner who is giving their all to their employees and to their customers and needs to fulfill their cup. They need resources and they don't have the time to go find them. And I've been doing this for 22 years. So I already have different ones, energy healers. I mean, one of the people I worked with for a really long time, he can clear 5G.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
some of my healers, I can't say that they can clear the
That's
C word.
that's a definite frequency that's difficult to pinpoint and take out, for sure. I've seen it. I've seen people try and do it.
Well, what he does is he changes your resistance to it, so it just goes through.
Oh,
So
the solidity of the person, like if
and
you were a superhero phasing through the wall, right? Like,
I did it with my phone, and he did it with my computer, because I'm so sensitive that I
right.
would be really tired because I didn't really know it, but my body was fighting the frequency from the computer. And as soon as he did it, it was like, oh God, I got 2 more hours going.
That's wild. That's wild. But I love what you're saying about the healing too, though, because I was healing with my hands before I even knew I was really doing it, or I was even in this sort of consciousness phase or exploration. And I would do it to my mother and my fiance, and I couldn't tell them how I was doing it. I just was.
That's right.
And now I have a complete control over it, and the visualization that I see while I'm doing it. Sometimes I'll see that it depends on the day, but sometimes I'll see the whatever the ailment is as the black smoke, and I'm pulling it from the body, and it
Yes.
so much. Or if they have a headache and it's their head, like almost like their brain's in a vice grip, and I'm opening the vice grip so that they have a little bit more blood flow to the brain. And it's wild how it took so long to get a hold of how to do it properly without actually taking in the bad myself and just dissipating it.
Yeah, that's the journey for empaths and healers. Is you and you also can't hold on to it after you've done the work. That's the other thing, cutting cords. But anyway, there's so many remarkable people out that are all brave enough to speak their truth, that do have language for what they do. I didn't. I'm still, actually, I still am working on, all these years later, feeling comfortable that this word, because it's feelings, it's not words. The alchemy part of it, it doesn't necessarily, once you condense it to English, it turns into a spell, which is useful for books and physical products, but the rest of it's feelings, and it's hard to find words. That's all I can say.
Oh, it definitely is. But and talking about the business side of it, I kind of wanted to get into that a little bit, and how this manifested for you to kind of take this journey into what conscious business. And first, I want you to explain what it means to you, conscious business, and the alchemy that goes into that. So I'm going to put you on the big screen. I'm going to put myself on the little, and I'll let you talk
Okay.
about it for a moment.
Okay, sure. So I may have a different experience calling or definition of conscious business than others. My idea is that any business that is here to create a better future, and in a lot of ways, it's the same as the indigenous 7 generations better future. A conscious business, as I said, is usually run by a servant leader. That servant leader has made a commitment to uplift and create a unity consciousness with their team. The old business model is based on a pyramid where the owner rules and does everything with fear of loss, fear of retribution, fear of everything. And the conscious business format is a circle. It is not the pyramid anymore. The other thing that the conscious businesses that I work with, they're very aware of energy and the right use of energy. So it's not power over, it's power with. So it's a co-creative energy. That's why the circles work so well. They a lot of times they're joyful and play games. I did a presentation for a Portal to Ascension where I used a PowerPoint. And at that point, when I was explaining it, I was explaining one of the companies that I studied when I was figuring out about conscious business. And there's a restaurant chain called Cafe Gratitude that's based out of California. And Cafe Gratitude, they wrote a book called Conscious Commerce. And the story is a huge success of this restaurant chain that is mostly vegetarian/vegan. And the restaurant chain, what they do is they committed to pay the managers extra money to come in early every single day and clear their employees. What that means is they sit down with the the cooks in the back, the waiters and waitresses, the bakers, everyone that works at them one by one. They clear them, let them tell, let the employee work with the manager and explain anything that's going on with them and work it out between the two of them so that they're clear, so that when they hit the floor and they go help people, they're not carrying that extra baggage with them. And this restaurant has been hugely successful. I think it started out as one, they have cookbooks and everything. Then there's other companies that are conscious companies that do something called cause marketing. And I was fortunate enough to teach cause marketing at the University of Colorado here at the business school several times. And cause marketing was started in the 1980s by American Express when they had a big fundraiser for the statue to refurbish the Statue of Liberty. And it was so successful that it started this whole business model. And when you go to the grocery store and you go down the detergent aisle, you'll see a lot of detergents will have the proceeds from this goes to fight breast cancer, or you'll see what people have done. And this isn't just commercial, this is give back. So it's highly successful. There are organizations you can join. There's a organization that just changed its name. It used to be Cause Marketing Forum. It's based out of Chicago. So there's organizations that are available for people to join like that, so that you can find out what people are doing, so that you can use it to actually help your business and help the planet. My cell provider, I use Credo Mobile, which they use the Verizon wireless system, but part of my monthly payment goes to nonprofits, and you get to help pick the nonprofits. That's a conscious business. So the opportunity is to change your roles inside your business, see the gift that each person is, and create more of a team effort rather than a hierarchical business. And then the other part is giving back, and also clearing yourself so that you're not bringing your story and your karmic baggage to play with on your plague your business. When I was with Arthur Anderson, I ran the Change Enablement Group with 80 people over 20 years ago, and the same thing, you had to clear everybody to make a team. So that's what I'm calling conscious business. It's somebody that definitely has a commitment, that is looking at the big picture. It's not just about profit, it's about people. And it's about the opportunity to make a difference in the long term, not just the short term.
Just to kind of jump in real quick, and if you work at a restaurant now, you were talking about the restaurant, it takes the team, it takes everybody, from the servers, the bussers, the food runners, the chefs. Everybody has to be kind of on that point. And when you talk about that circle, it that's what the encompassing of the circle is that team effort to create a service or a product and get it out and get it done. Well, nobody carries the load. It's shoulder on everybody's back. So also, when you have those clearings as well, you start each day fresh, so it's a more conducive work environment with the ability to give back. And I love how all of that is give back too, and nonprofits are involved, and people helping people, which is what we should be doing. It's just like what we do when we speak. We're trying to help people. Sometimes things are profound to others, and some others, other things. But I love that business model, and I love how that sounds, and the implementation of that has got to be just an incredible, joyous moment because it is giving back, and it's also effective, and that's the dichotomy of it. You see a lot of people that when they're out there and they're in the workforce or corporate America and all these different places, they're miserable.
Right.
They're
Right.
miserable, and
Well,
that leads to bad health. It leads to everything. It leads to a lot of mental illness and everything like that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I think there are a couple other things that I could add that I just remembered that I should mention. The conscious business is authentic, and so it's real. There isn't this facade. Oh, I look this way and I act this way in business, I'm totally different on the weekend. This is get real time, and the way that you get real is you identify your values and you work from and you identify values with everybody so you have a connection. There was a bunch of work done called the cultural creatives that was done in the 90s, and what they found is it used to be the way the marketing was done and communications were done. They would determine how to talk to somebody by what kind of car they drove, or if they had 2.2 kids, or all of that. Well, these guys, and I can't remember, Ray is the last name of the man. It was a man and a woman that wrote this book. It was called The Cultural Creatives. What they found is that when you connect people on values, it's a whole different thing. So people that all love Sierra Club, they all have skin in the game, emotion in the game. They have this passion that isn't temporary. It isn't, oh, I'll turn in my car and, oh, I'm not a Volvo lover anymore. This is people that get it and want to make a difference. So that's where a lot of these conscious businesses, once they could go and find the cultural creative way to communicate on values and on benefits that benefit everyone, then there was a huge success rate. And I just used Sierra Club as an example because they're phenomenal. But Patagonia, Ben and Jerry's, I mean, you look at these people, now they may have been bought out later, but when they started, most of these small companies started in somebody's garage, and they grew out of values, out of this passion to do good in the world.
That's incredible. And talking about this kind of reminds me of the days I sold cars for 15 years, and I hated the person that I was while having to maintain a specific persona to be relevant in that business. And I was always the one getting in trouble by the higher ups because I was too real or not, conducive to their way of selling. And I was a little bit too much up front with people. Like, that's not the car you want. You can't afford that. You're telling me you want $300 a month. That's not it. You want to see $300 a month? I'll show you. And they didn't like that. They wanted me to upsell, 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 to the point where it became a very hostile environment. And I was threatened to be fired in multiple dealerships multiple times because I wasn't following the curriculum. And one of the things that helped me was Grant Cardone, and Grant Cardone's selling systems gave me the ability to be myself, but still work within their confines to kind of maintain that. And that's when I really started to excel in it. Now, again, the more you jump around, because car sales is never you stay in one place very long. It's always about what's the hot car, what's the hot ticket. We're going to take it. We're going to go there. We're going to sell everything. Plus, a lot of different jobs came down the pike on moving up too. It becomes this race, this cutthroat race. So now you're not fighting against the people. You're fighting against the people you work with. And if it's not coming from one side, it's coming from both. And if it's not coming from both, then you're not doing a good job and you're not making money. So it was this real hostile environment. And I would love to try and open some sort of dealership and keep it to this conscious business model and show that it can be done because it's so adversarial for so many different places, that we can accomplish that. Because I know we can accomplish anything, and I know we know no limits. So I would love to just really push back against the car industry by doing that and really taking it home. But go
Well,
ahead, Kathy.
I think there's going to be changes in every industry because the people that got into healthcare that aren't really getting to do that, it turned into a business, a for-profit, a high-profit model. I mean, almost every industry we see needs to be transformed. So I think we're in a pivotal time that business isn't always a bad name and a bad concept. And it is energy exchange. Even if you're bartering, it's still an energy exchange. So right now we're using currency, but who knows in 10 years what we'll be using. This digital life is changing everything. But I think it's more about how do you be authentically you and share your gifts and bring other people around that are they're pieces of the puzzle and see them that way rather than, oh, that's the janitor. Well, the janitor is a great asset. And, I think we have this hierarchical mindset that needs to change. Plus, leadership gets a chance to expand to this new consciousness where there's fifth dimensional leadership models that people I just was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and he's amazing. His leadership information is quantum. It's quantum. And so I want to get that message out, those ideas out, where people could pick and choose out of what he's offering to see what fits their life and their model so that they can make the world a better place too.
I love that. And in this line that we chose now with being on these shows, we dedicate a lot of our time to doing what we do. And sometimes it's difficult because your consciousness is sort of saying this should be free information, but I have to maintain some sort of lifestyle. So for me, there's that trying to maintain that balance and trying to figure out where I can monetize a little bit to maintain some sort of income as opposed to just giving it all away for free. Of as much as I want to, I still have to survive in some way. And this is a completely listener supported podcast, and everything is done. There's no major sponsors, and we don't want to take on major sponsors because if it's not something that we believe in, we don't want to promote something we don't believe in either. So, that's a question that a lot of us have. And how do we kind of create that monetization out of something that we're trying to give away for free in that aspect? And is that the right frame of mind to be thinking that, or am I kind of not in the right? I don't know. It's a very difficult question I don't have an answer to.
Okay, so I'd be glad to work with you on that. What I do is I actually open up the Akashic Records and we let your soul show you what you, because you've done part of it, but you may need a lot of times what I get to see that your soul uses me to tell you about is you're here and you want to be here, and this is what you may have agreed to do before you embodied, but you don't have the milestones to get you from there to there. So a lot of times what comes in, it actually comes in full color in a movie, and I translate it to you, and then we can see how to get there. Because again, everything is energy. Your imagination is your guide. Your soul probably already has tried to tell you, and you haven't got the memo yet. So what happens a lot of times when I do these readings, people cry, people go, "Oh my God, how did you know?" I'm out sitting, I'm kind of sitting on a park bench above, telling you what's on the movie, and your soul's running the show. So I didn't know anything. In fact, a lot of times I don't remember a lot of what happened. That's why I love Zoom. I love these.
Oh, it's the best. You get to
But
record it and go back and check it out again
that's
after you've had that cut.
well, me too.
That is the best. That is, I have to say, bar none. How many times I've had to go back and be like, I need to rewatch that. I forgot everything I just said as I got up. But go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
But see, the thing is that this is that we have to be patient because everything's in divine order, everything's in divine timing, and we have to trust that everything that's coming to you is coming to you just the way it's supposed to. But the big vision, which you may think is so far out of touch, it's like, I want to have this and I want to do that. You may not see the interim pieces until somebody helps you. And then if I get to help you, then I actually am given this big thing of energy that looks like those blow up bubbles, of soap stuff that bubbles. It's a big one, and it has energy in it, and we infuse that energy in each milestone, and it creates this alchemy with it. But a lot of this is expanding your imagination, because we created all of this unknowingly. And our parents helped us have the paradigm because they thought they were protecting us, and they didn't know. But now we're starting to get out of the matrix enough to see the possibilities are endless. If we created this, we can create the next version, the 2.0, the 3.0, the 4.0.
And keep creating it,
Right.
keep reiterating it and creating it. You know, and I definitely want to work with you on that, Kathy, because I think that there is something there that I have to achieve, and I think that there is a milestone in there that I need to figure out and kind of pursue. So, you know, we're coming to the end of the hour now, and I usually give every guest a moment at the end of the show before we say goodbye to tell the people that are listening what you believe they need to hear right now.
Okay. You are more powerful than you could ever know. And it's time. You came here, you stood in line to get these bodies, to be here right now, to be here to help with the change. And it's going to be such a delight for you in every way to discover who you really are and how to harness that power to create joy and happiness in the world.
Incredible, incredible. Kathy, thank you so much for coming by. It's been an honor and a privilege, and your information is paramount, and you graced us with it. And I look forward to working with you so much more in the future on this relationship, growing with it. I can't wait. And I think we're destined for some really incredible, incredible things together. And I truly see that. And I appreciate you for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's party. Come on. This is a lot more fun than what we've been doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
everybody underneath this video is Kathy's YouTube and Kathy's website. Check out both. They're also in the chat, so you can grab it there as well. But if this is after the fact and the chat doesn't come up, go and subscribe to Kathy's channel. We are getting, I want her to have as many subscriptions from this as possible because she deserves it. She does incredible work. Check out all of the amazing guests that she has on, and check out the events that she does with us. We're going to be hitting up a lot more events. We're going to be doing a lot more iterations of different subjects, and we're going to really, really take it home in the next year because it's that time. It's that time. The next solstice is what we're working towards. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page, and now it's time for you to hit that escape pod and go back to your own universe. And this has been Full Spectrum Universe with Rob Yox and Kathy Mason. We thank you all so much for listening. We love you all. Remember, we are the ones that we've been waiting for, and the information is the activation. All that being said, I hope everybody has a great evening and a great week ahead, and we'll see you next time. Thank you all so much. Good night.